What's happening, everybody? Pro Expert MIDI Academy here today to talk about the 10 most powerful key commands in Pro Tools. My workflow has not been the same since I discovered these shortcuts. You're really going to love these key commands. First is switching between the mix and edit window. This totally speeds up your workflow. What you do is you hit Command plus. And that switches between the mix and edit window. And it's really sped up my workflow a lot. I hate having to go between the mix and edit window manually. So that helps out a great deal. One of the things that you want to definitely do at the end of your production is to bounce it. And so instead of recording it slowly in real time to a track, you can bounce it offline, let's say, in Pro Tools 10. And so what we do is we make a selection, just encompassing the whole track, and then we do Option Command B. That really speeds up getting to the bounce window. And at that point, we can go through these different parameters, selecting what kind of file type we want, sample rate, bit rate, all that kind of stuff. And so Option Command B, that really speeds it up. Okay, well, let's talk about some editing. Looks like I've edited this. I've trimmed this so that the start goes to here and the end. Basically, I've trimmed the start and the end around some sort of selection. So maybe I want to do that to these bells here. Let's take a listen to those bells. Get a load of that. And so the quickest way to do this is to break the clip here, and then delete the excess. And so what we do is we hit B for break. I'm not really sure why it's not working. When your keyboard shortcuts don't work, what you want to do is to go to the edit menu and go to separate clip and then at selection. And we'll do that here as well. And then in order to select these other clips, you go to the grabber tool, you click them and delete them. The delete key is a great keyboard shortcut. And so I've trimmed that clip pretty quickly. Okay, a couple other, let me get back to my selector tool. A couple other editing shortcuts. Maybe I just want to trim to the selection start, right? So the keyboard shortcut for that is just to hit A. Well, that's not working either. So if it was, then it would have gone all the way to the insertion point. All right. And then basically, like your Command C, copy, Command X, Command Z, all those kind of things. In Pro Tools, you don't really need the modifier in order to do those. You can just hit C and have it work, right? So I'm going to use my grabber tool again. I'm going to hit C. I got the selection here on this clip. I'm going to hit C to copy it. Then I'm going to go back to my selector tool, and I'm going to hit V to paste. Even Command V doesn't work in Pro Tools. So yeah, if it was working, then that would all those things that I said that were going to happen would have happened. Okay, let's get off of editing a little bit. One of the most commonly used and most useful, most powerful keyboard shortcuts in Pro Tools is new track. We always want to make new tracks all the time, so we go to track, new, all that stuff. But as we can see here, there's a shortcut, Shift Command N, right? So this is really going to speed up your workflow. We'll hit Shift Command N, and then that quickly gets us to the new tracks window. We didn't have to go all the way up here to the track menu. And so now once we're here, we can go and select all these things. Whether I want an aux track or master fader track, instrument track, whatever kind of track I want. I was able to save time by getting to this window. And I don't need any new tracks. This track's about produced. So I'm going to hit cancel. Basically, the track's at the point where any new tracks wouldn't be of any benefit to it anyway. Okay, next, if I did have any new tracks that I wanted to make, I'd have some MIDI and I'd want to quantize it. Pro Tools, you can't really quantize anything except MIDI. So I don't really have any for this demonstration. But if I did, I would be making a selection. And instead of going all the way up to Quantize, I'm just going to hit Option 0. And that quickly gets me up to this Quantize window where I can then choose how much I want to swing, quarter note, eighth note, 16th note. I don't know what this is. Anyway, but that saves you a lot of time going to that. Okay. And there's other things you want to do with your notes besides quantize them. Maybe you want to transpose them, split them around a certain note number, or mess with the duration. Well, the good news is that there's also keyboard shortcuts for all those too. You just hit Option 0 to go to the Quantize window, and then you just go to transpose or duration and all those, and they're right at your fingertips. They really help you streamline the creation and production of your tracks. So there's your quantize and different MIDI kind of stuff. And another thing that you do with all the tracks that you produce is use a lot of loops. I mean, you can hear with mine, there's a lot of looped kind of stuff. Let's take a listen for a second. Didn't hear all these bells. Okay, so there's a lot of looping going on there. Now you don't see it because I've consolidated everything, but the quickest way to make a selection and loop that selection, and creatively, right? You want to make music. And so you make your selection and you hit Control Option L. Shift Control L. Option Command L. Shift Command L. There we go. Option Command L. And that's going to quickly get you to this looping window, which gives you this intuitive way to loop your clip across, like a certain number of repetitions, or until a certain sample position, all these other things. So that's about the quickest way that I think that you, in Pro Tools anyway, you can loop your stuff. So that's one of the keyboard shortcuts that I use absolutely the most. It really speeds up my workflow with my tracks. Okay, one of the best ones, in my opinion, when we're doing a final mix down, we're going to want to, edit the volume, make adjustments to the volume of the channels and stuff like that, or make edits across everything, right? Like maybe I want to bounce it and select starting at a certain, like you see here. Zoom in here. Like get to the beginning. Maybe I want the track to start here. Get out of grid mode. There we go. Well, if I had an all group on, then this insertion point would be across everything, and then I'd be able to break those clips all together. Well, the quickest way to turn on the all group is to hit Shift 1. Shift 1. Fuck. It's not working. Well, it should work. Shift 1 is the key command for turning on the all group. It's acting on its own. Okay, so I need to send it in. All right, so that's the key command for turning on the all group. Okay, one of the things I like to do with overdubs and things like that, zoom out. Okay. So maybe this oboist wants to overdub a small part of his solo. Let's listen to this part that wasn't so good towards the end. All right. Okay, let's zoom in there. And he just wants to overdub this tiny little part here. Just those couple notes. All right, well, the quickest way to do that is to turn on loop playback. Excuse me. So the key command for that is Shift Command L. Now, we're not going to see the transport because the window's not big enough. So I'm going to go to Window and Transport. There we go. Now, he's just going to record over it and do a lot of takes. So I'm going to do loop playback. Shift Command L. All right. And you see how the symbol there changed to a little looping thing. So if I hit play, we're going to have a looped. Or not. So that's if I said that it'd be looping, and it should be looping on your system of Pro Tools. If you do this, it's probably going to loop. I don't know what's wrong with mine. So that's one of the many powerful keyboard commands in Pro Tools for streamlining your workflow. One last thing that I want to get into, the 10th of the 10 powerful key commands in Pro Tools, it has to do with the edit and nudge grids. And this is really, really crucial. Let's just expand this a little bit so we can see our edit and nudge grids. And instead of just going up here and clicking it manually, that's how amateurs do it. So we're going to do it with key commands. So let's start with the nudge grid. We're going to use Option, Command, plus, and minus. And you can see that's going off without a hitch. That's working perfectly the way it should be, like all these other things should have been doing. Now for the grid, it's going to be Control Option plus. What the fuck? Control Option minus. And it should be working. Like I said, on your home Pro Tools system, it'll probably work. So, all right, well, this has been Pro Expert MIDI Academy. And if you did enjoy the content today, please think about giving a like or subscribing to our channel. It's greatly appreciated and it helps us out a lot. Until next time, this has been Pro Expert MIDI Academy. Bye.